Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
It says Rangru, low, low, low.
And folks, today give me some monthly tournament coverage. We're on today on Harashasha. And who do we have here today, sir?
On left hand side in the blue, we have Raikau Mori playing 17% with a Maverick Income. Right hand side in red, we have Cadre Fireblade Lisznek playing 2nd Infantry, also with a Maverick Income.
It's going to be interesting today to see the 2nd Infantry match up over here against the 17th SS. Now, I promised I wasn't going to bring it up. I'm not going to break that promise, but we have, my favorite type of troops over here on the blue side. Now, yes, I'm going to make the same comment you made to me many times. They're pretty good. And actually, I will say the other thing that you mentioned to me at another point. It's not the Germans had a whole lot they could pick from back in 1944. So, with that in mind, I will acknowledge the disheartened troops, and we're going to move on.
Yeah, don't worry, they're probably not going to last that long.
Exactly. But, M8, it's a nice little M8 opening, come up the middle over here, trying to give you some nice kind of recon to the center, which kind of makes a lot of sense. Very kind of minimalistic breakout to the north, which, again, makes sense. You have that saddle, which people don't get super aggressive over. That usually tends to be something a little bit later on here. But down the south, are we shaping up for a second push down from east to west here, do you think?
Yeah, it does seem to be the case down south. Usually don't see people do this sort of push position because it is a bit exposed, a bit far. But when you have SS Legionaries who've learned the power of Molotov cocktails and CQC fights and Berettas, you can't really exploit too much. You can capture out one flag, dig down, and just hope for the best.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not that many Firestones for the 17th SS. So those Legionari are the only guys in a little bit of time that can be bringing in that much flame power here. But I'm actually kind of fascinated to see if the Rangers are going to... Yep, they're always going to unload and start working in that direction. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think if he brings up the Rangers at the same time the Flamethrowers and move them all in one big blob, he should be able to beat out the Legionaries, but I think he might, engage them one by one, which will be fatal.
Very fatal. That's at that point the human Zippos are going to go up. And let's be fair, I mean, the Rangers are good, but to me, the Rangers I think are better because of the Thompsons and the Grease gun as opposed to the Flamethrower.
Yeah, they're pretty much just like a CERN pioneer. And the SS Legionnaires are honestly built a bit different, just due to the fanatical trait as well. They just will not die. I've seen them almost beating out their one Ranger squad, but fortunately his buddies are coming in to back him up.
That's true, but the engineers in the meantime are going to come in as well. They're going to start fragging out, I'm sure. They're taking a lot of firepower in the meantime. Quick thing back to the middle. M8 has supported a push. They are just absolutely shellacking the northern part of the town. Flamethrowers and Rangers and engineers and leaders kind of all coalescing together to make a, Megazord over here of death and pain.
Yeah, damn, that's actually a really cool way how he's hooked around the northern part of the town. You usually see people just go right down the middle, but by going around, he's actually getting a lot of this rear line stuff, by surprise. And those M8s are pretty damn decent. Yes, they can't bloody kill tanks unless it's a King Tiger to the side, but they can deal with the 222s and 231s effectively, and also has a 50 cal for decent infantry fire support.
One thing they're not really going to be able to be too great at is getting rid of the Pak-38 and the Stugs. So, yes, 17th SS, a little underpowered from tanks again. We know why. But the Stug itself is, I don't know. Outside of the Rhino, it's going to be matching up very, very well against pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's a very good tank for this map, and honestly 17th SS does have that armor advantage because it's a bit more open, and they do have those dreaded Jagdpanzers, which will pretty much be not super heavy, but heavy tanks to deal with for Lisznek, as those 76 mils gonna have a bit of a hard time.
Rang, the Stug is not a tank, it's an assault tank.
I was really gonna say tank destroyer, it's like, god damn it.
No, I will not commit that cardinal sin right there. Down to the south, I'm sure I took a quick glance over here and go back to the 233s in a moment, but the Legionari looking to get a second wave in there, but the only dude that survives is the guy who got pushed back initially, so everyone else has fought and died for that particular position. The 233s in the center are trying really hard to be aggressive against that Sherman, but they really can't take a hit.
Yeah, and it's a very good position in how Fireblade is placing his tanks in the northern part of his town, because he's using, what's it called, like, the buildings to cover line of sight, and then he's kind of got a pretty good angle of attack just down the road, and as you've seen, he's picking off his infantry and guns run by one as they move up.
That's true, though at the same time, the Pack-38 is going to match up pretty well. Oh, no. Okay.
Oh.
He might get one last shot off before he goes down. Let's see.
And all of the Stuart coming in as well. It's just very effective use of tanks in general, just as long as they don't get blapped by the Stug. It's really going to come down to that Stug, you know, hitting not above its rate, but getting lots of kills.
Indeed. So M10 coming on in, Ranger Marauders coming on in. The 60 mil has been active, but not I think life-changing in this case.
No. Just a few shots here, and yeah. And it's also going to be pretty interesting with the whole Stug dynamic, because once again, 2nd Infantry, not a whole lot of bazookas. So Ryk can be a little bit more aggressive with his Stugs, especially on an open map like this, because there's not a whole lot which can at super long range, blast him.
That's true. Actually, the thing I was kind of looking more towards was bringing up one of the SDKF said 71s and just use that as the quad mounted as infantry suppression and not so much anti-air, because the 2nd Infantry, you can go heavier-ish, but at the same time, I feel like most 2nd Infantry doesn't go heavy in the air.
Yeah, as we're seeing here, all he took is 2 cards of P-47s. I think it's just so much, you just want to get that infantry and artillery spam. It usually just avoid getting the air spam. And honestly, if you get a few P-47s and you're not dumb, they usually don't die.
Usually. It's always a fun word, usually.
Yeah, usually. It's optimally, they don't get blown up until the opponent brings in 7 flak 88s and it looks like a flak tower from the ground.
True. Legionary down below all have fallen. And the M10, like I said before, is in the middle. There's an awful lot of light vehicles in here, too.
Yeah, it seems this is going to come into the, classic Hiroshige play of an absolute meat grinder over his town. Currently, Lisznek does have pretty good positional advantage, just thanks to getting that northern part of the town and really digging in with all his infantry. But Ryarsi and Ryk is investing a lot of armor. He's got the 2-3 all-overs, he got the Stugs, and he's bringing a whole heap of meat shields, Volkdeutscher, to push on up.
I'd like to point out the fact I did not say that.
I know.
You said that.
I did.
I appreciate that.
They're good meat shields. They got machine guns.
That's true. Unfortunately, one meat shield that did not get in the way of that Stug, so the M10 takes down its first kill over here. And he still might run afoul. Not the 231s, but 233s might have something to say about it.
But no, that Stug kill was definitely pretty good. That's given Lisznek like a decent chance to start getting some more kills, and there he goes. You get a 2nd Stug. It's going to be a bloody snowball effect in regards to Ryk's armor advantage in this town. And if that goes down, his infantry's going to have a hard time against all the American armor.
Well, I think that's what he got the Pack-38s for. He doesn't get a lot of them. I know right now he's just basically trying to hold on just one more minute over here. But the Pack-38, I think, would be enough to at least contain any potential outbreak. 233 takes down the M10, so nice pickup there.
Or off-map as well, being brought in from Lisznek. And considering just how bunched up Ryk's forces are, this could be enough to clear him out of the town.
Yeah, certainly could rupture the entire town for now. That said, 2 flags, yeah, that would push him into a -2. That actually would be a very, very good opportunity. Also saw some big booms happen elsewhere over on... Oh, the IG-33 is engaging.
Oh, yeah. A very... I don't want to say sneaky position, but you kind of forget just how long range a 150mm cannon is.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing. You're like, you don't really pay attention to it until half your squad's going to meet base. 203. Okay, so positioning of this barrage. How do you feel about that?
I like it.
Okay. I was just... I thought I was thinking that myself. I was kind of wondering if with the M10 going down over here, M4A3 and the M4A1, there really isn't that much terrifying still in that position. So I'm wondering if it's more of a deterrent barrage.
Yeah, I think he can probably rush up a few half tracks, and he can potentially hit that position from 2 angles once the off map does drop. It'd be curious to see how aggressive he is going to be, or whether he's gonna, tenderize the position a bit more before going in for the kill.
I think tenderizing is probably a good idea, though, at the same time. If nothing else, he wants some suppression, so that way when your basics roll on in, it's, well, it's basic enough for them to handle it. So, definitely see the wisdom here. Pack 38, though, not to be outdone, is, what's he, yeah, cheese.
Damn.
So a lot of the second Indian head armor actually is dead already.
Yeah, it's been an absolute bloodbath to be a tank in a town, which, honestly, not that surprising here. It seems Royke does have a Stunk 4 brought up, and in a very clutch, timing, knocking out that Sherman. Teresa's going to buy him some very valuable time, as now Lisznek is just going to have to rely on infantry to continue his push. So there's really not a whole lot here to stop him.
However, the P-47 might have something to say about it, and these 127 mils, shotgun left on kill.
I'm actually quite surprised too.
88 being brought on in, I think it rather over... Well over time. Well, rather, well... You know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's about time. I did see a P-47 up north at the same time, too. That's a 23, that's the bombs as opposed to the rockets. In any case, most of which are making this bit of a small push back towards the town. They're going to be pinned down quite a bit in the open, but the Pack 38 over here, I imagine, is probably going to want to say hello to that Stewart first, but very soon afterwards to that half-track.
Indeed. This town is just becoming like an absolute bloodbath, which isn't all that surprising. I mean, Raike's been pushed out, but his advantage is now the battle's becoming a bit more of a longer range affair rather than close range, which benefits his Tug 4s. Honestly, I think for Raike, Edin's current predicament, it'd probably be a good idea for him to try to make a push in the northern side of the map. Because this is B-phase, he's got the Maverick income, he can afford to make a risky play up north, even if it fails, just to try to draw some attention away from the town, because he's not going to be able to do that come C-phase.
That's true. Actually, one thing I'd like to see from him is a JU-88, because looking from the American side, he's either got the Bofors or he's got the M3 MGMC. And you haven't seen the MGMC, which is usually what you tend to see in that central position as infantry support, so you pretty much can assume that if there's anything at all, it's a single anti-air. So I think that's rife for a nice kind of ground attack, kind of carpet bomb. Maybe I'm overthinking, though. I know I have God vision, and maybe I'm overthinking. But I feel like JU-88 would be a perfect time for that right about here.
Yeah, it's honestly pretty cheap, and just being able to carpet bomb the town to knock out annoying infantry is really what he needs. He doesn't have any off maps, so yeah, it's going to come down to the neighbor weathers to do the digging out. I also really do like how Fireblade, I'm just going to go Fireblade, I really do like Tau. It's got a lot of good attack beacons on the position, and using that to do, I'm going to guess, eventual counter battery, does he? Oh, he's bringing in a long tom.
Toms. Actually, I think he's had multiple long toms. No, just one?
Just one so far. Honestly, all you really need is one, maybe two if you're wanting to get really long. Then you can make the longest tom if you stick them together.
That's certainly got a potential over here. The second barrage coming down now. The first one I thought was completely, not complete with a moderate whiff in terms of the concentration. This one, though, I'm not sure you could ask for much better.
Oh, yeah, it's getting some very good hits on the tanks. Probably nothing to, as you see, get a kill, but stressing them out for the time being. These seem to be much more defensive barrages more than anything to slow down Raike or Mori's push. And it's working, because Fireblade is getting that 59 advantage, which is pretty big at this stage in the match.
True, but let's not kid ourselves. If we're looking at the way that the decks are made, we might see Volksdeutsche galore over here in C. And there's more troops of Volksdeutsche than there are almost half of what Fireblade's entire infantry sections were. So we get to sea phase. There's no fresh American infantry. That's it.
That's true. Yeah, I think he has that one sea phase card of riflemen,
Nope.
but they're like
He is
vetted.
Winchester.
Yeah, it's and also in the tank department as well. I do believe Raikkonen does have better long-term availability and just better long-range capabilities. So if it does end up coming down to a grind fest, and Raikkonen doesn't bleed too heavily, he does have a chance come the slow dredging of sea phase of 80 points a minute.
Well, right now you're seeing a desperate attempt to bring in all these M1919s to kind of hold the southern edge of the town, to get kind of ignore any kind of open field push, which makes perfect sense. In that long time, this to me, this is the priority. I want to know exactly how I can get rid of that one spot, and I'm thinking Nebelwerfer might be the way to go.
Yeah, that's really his only option. He has no other long-range artillery in his deck. If you want it gone, you're gonna have to Nebelwerfer and pray to Oberkommando or Gods, whatever they are, probably Odin or something, to guide your rockets through.
That's like playing the Viking division, but I agree with you.
Yeah. They got some
now,
funny symbols in their Viking ships.
Bluetooth. That's a deep cut. I'm not sure how many.
No, I get it.
I appreciate that. So M5 in the meantime, try to engage that Jagdpanzer 4. So Hetcher's gonna heads, but Jagdpanzer over here could still be pierced quite simply.
Yeah, honestly, at long range, the Jagdpanzer is pretty fine. I believe even with the like the APCR equivalent for the 76 mils, it's not going to work out well at the longer ranges. So as we're seeing, this is becoming, like I said, a long range brawl, or more of a snipe fest. And Raikkonen is slowly grinding down Fireblade.
So Nebelywerfer coming on in as well. My curiosity is, will he go for the long time? Ooh, with xylophones. Oh, we gotta see some music today.
Oh, he does have those. I like that a lot.
And that's... Second Infantry occupies a weird place emotionally for me. Like, I want to turn around and say that it's absolutely amazing, and it's going to be stellar, and it's going to be perfect. But at the same time, I've been hurt too many times. Yeah, please.
It all comes down to whether you can keep enough of your tanks alive so your lack of bazookas don't kill you.
Exactly. But I was actually also thinking, too, is the fact that the xylophone, I think, is that nice little punch that if you can get it out in a concentrated moment or two, and let's be fair, these are the only two ones you've got, if you can push them and get a great barrage, oh, it's just beautifully juicy.
Oh yeah, especially...
Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, there's that blob of Panzer Grenadiers, which I said he could barrage at and get the kills, but honestly, the machine guns are doing enough of the talking. Oh no, he's using it for counter battery.
Yep, I don't like this. You're firing, was it 64 rockets? You're trying to get a single flak gun.
Yeah, because usually with the or we do see people use Katyusas, because the neighbor Earth is not terrible in the counter battery role, like anti-air role, you could say, because big rocket. So all you need is one good hit, while the 114s usually need a couple. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, you got volume of fire.
Yeah, well, you will see that they're playing some beautiful music, and they actually got a kill.
Immediate counter battery on the xylophones, get a kill!
Yeah, I don't know how you even saw them. It's like the framing on that was deliciously perfect.
It was.
Both long toms on the field too. So if the long toms get picked off, if the xylophones get picked off, I think we have a ball game. Ooh, and I love this too. Nebelwerfer immediately he comes in, he fires it, and he's immediately off.
Smart move, especially if the long toms on the field. You cannot be keeping your static real-line assets, well, static.
P-47's coming in, doing their darndest to do some gun runs here and there, bombing away as much as hard as they can. Ju-88 bombs away. Okay, yep. So that's going to hit the northern town. That's going to hurt pretty bad. Skadoosh. Okay,
not bad.
I expected even more than that, but that's still pretty good. That throws on the first layer of Fortress this Towna. And, yeah.
Yeah, it's still just coming down to an absolute grind fest in the middle. I mean, Fireblade has invested a lot in that rear line support equipment, which is this is the perfect time to do it, because it's B-phase, you have all the big juicy money. Now it's going to come down to Ravi's, Long Toms, and, well, Xylophone can pay itself off. Because even though Fireblade does have a decent amount of units on the front line, he doesn't have a whole lot of anti-tank to deal with all these Stugs and Jagdpanzers.
Now, we are going to see a more, not conservative, but a more front-focused Nebelwerfer barrage. And the Long Toms are looking along this area for that. Nebelwerfer is looking to take out the M5 and maybe put some fire to some infantry here or there? No.
No, I definitely like that call-in, because right now, if he wants to make his push happen in the town, anti-tank needs to go. He makes the anti-tank go, his assault guns can finish off the job.
Well, the other thing, too, is if he takes these Ranger Marauders, I think he's in a great spot.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So,
sneaky.
yes, there's still the occasional M5, there's still the occasional Sherman, but like we've been saying the entire match, it isn't the Shermans that are going to be numbering that many here.
Yep.
Not saying they're an extinct species yet, but they're pretty darn endangered.
Yeah, third armor took all of him. Greedy bastards.
Freaking Patton, what were you expecting? But P-Gruns, in the meantime, also engaging with the late rifles, who apparently decided that they were so late they couldn't stop to pick up their bazookas.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see one of them right now huddling out in that church, and he's getting rather holy, as we're just in front of us watching.
And he's taking a lot of machine gun fire. Hopefully he can pray to make the MG42 goes away. I doubt it's going to work ever.
You're probably correct, especially when the Jagdpanzers and Stokes also supporting fire into that as well. But we're crossing 22 minutes, and it's still a 14-10, so...
Yeah, it's slow but steady. Now it's really going to come down to whether Fireblade can hold the onslaught, because if he just keeps that +1 advantage, 17 minutes, yeah, it is durable, but he really can't afford, because just the availability of his deck, to lose that +1 point advantage for really any period of time. His front line he set up, it needs to hold.
And another 12 rockets coming the other direction to have that stop happening. Now, will they do a whole lot? Meh. They might take out this anti-tank gun. They're going to cause a little bit of stress. But at the end of the day, no fresh kills, which is quite important.
And fantastic micro on the neighbor Earthers, immediately moving him, right taking with the supply munitions truck. And that's going to make him effectively uncounter-batteryable. That's not even a word, I made it up. But regardless, those neighbor Earthers are going to have a very good long-term impact for Rai-K.
So they're going to have a long-term impact, or no?
Hopefully they impact the long toms.
Well, the Xylophone's coming the other direction. So the Xylophone, unfortunately, really focusing all its firepower on a single Legionary.
Mm-hmm.
Which...
And he's fanatical.
Exactly.
He likes it.
Exactly. He's that weird death head guy. Like, he's not trust those kids.
He's a good guy. He's got a skull on his hat.
They're not the baddies here. Down south, we missed it, but we had actually a pair of half-tracks escorting a pair of late rifles. And this isn't a kill shot, but it's pretty painful.
No, that's a very good push, just doing something unexpected, yeah. Because, hey, he's going to get a decent amount of flags. He's probably not going to hold it for that long. But if he can just hold it for, as you can see, 7 minutes, that's going to relieve pressure off his northern front. And hopefully get him the victory if he manages to keep us up.
True. True. Next neighbor over barrage, because I'm just really focused on it. He's looking for the off-map. Interesting decision. Again, this end now, I think we're starting to get a weird target description over here for those neighbor buffers.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be hitting the front lines more than anything else.
Yeah, and the real problem here for AK in the town now is that all his tanks are still alive. Well, one less alive now, thanks to the P-47s, but he doesn't really have any infantry left. And so those Ranger Marauders and all the other American infantry are gonna hold the front line, and in the end of the day, it's still any Eugene game, let's be real. It comes down to infantry holding positions. You don't get rid of them, you don't get the position. Simple as.
True. True. So Volksdeutsche over here down at the south have been able to take one position back, but the question is, they can't just leave it there. They've got to be even more aggressive. Can they take 2 or 3, or heck, even 4?
Yeah. Main thing is just being able to regain that one flag and hold the hill again, set up that good no man's land. He's got the Jagdpanzer 4, going to be shooting the infantry as they cross on over. But the problem right now for Reich in the immediate term in these half-tracks is he has no anti-tank down here. And those half-tracks are annoying because he doesn't have any more lightly armoured vehicles, which are the perfect counter in a cost-effective manner. Instead, he's probably have to like buy a whole Jagdpanzer or Stug, which is a lot of points come sea phase. Or just bomb him.
But if the bombs had been even just a smidge more accurate, that could have broken the back of American resistance. 50 meters north. About literally 50 meters north. That would have been perfect. It would take out both new half tracks and the infantry coming on in and. So either way. 26 minutes gone. 15-9 over here. Memori is certainly fueling the pressure.
Indeed.
But will he be asking Major Tom for ground control, or is he actually insert David Bowie joke here that I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I got away from it. Anyway, Jagdpanzer engaging a lot of the infantry over here in the town. Of course, he keeps going with the setup teams, which you can kind of understand, but you need to be looking a little bit deeper into those lines.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna just come down to he just needs fresh bodies on the front line at this point. I think he probably went through a lot of his legionaries are really his best shock troopers for actually clearing infantry out of buildings. But if he can maintain tank superiority, 75mm HEs are also a pretty good motivator. And 150mm high explosive rockets actually counter battery in the long tom. Get your kill! That's good.
If those things could have been brought in an A, they've been stellar.
Yeah. And Aberofers are just fantastic units.
Yeah, and the way he's just been running with them too has just been brilliant. Like, again, we have so many different players who bring artillery assets in and just plop them there and say, okay, do stuff, which you can't do. You got to be active in this one. Less this one, I think, than some of the other Eugene titles, but this one for sure, we still have to be able to be shifting it around, remaining constantly focused on things. So, truly, like, hats off on that one. Really, really well done.
Yeah. Also, hats off to Fireblade for really just being a pain in the arse down south. He's actually doing a lot of push here. And this is the problem. Reich doesn't have a whole lot of effective CQC stuff here, which is cost effective to deal with his push. He's got the 2-3-3 automatic sight surprise. He still has one up. But Fireblade, he can just kind of dig in around his forest and town position. He doesn't need to even get that extra flag. He just needs to make it a pain in the ass to dig him out, because even at his +1, 7 minutes, which is very durable.
That's true, but the front lines are starting to get a little thin-ish over here in the southern town. Yes, his second liner is good, it's still pretty solid, but now there's a lot of material engaged in the M1919. Yes, the Volksdeutsche over here, but M1919 is going to go down. The Jagdpanzer should be able to engage at Sherman pretty soon. And things are going to get worse and worse for the Americans if they're not careful.
Yeah, he does have a few Shermans in the rear line. It's really... Reich just needs to make a blitz for the road. If he can capture the 2 flags along the central position, that will bring it back to an even Stevens, and then potentially he can push on through and get the 3rd flag in the town.
Here's the issue, though. This P-47 run, I think, means absolutely everything. Yeah.
Rip.
Now, nothing in the southern town. Even if this P-47 goes down, which is a very good chance it should, between basically, there it goes, the flak reeling and otherwise, there's still no immediate weapon system to take care of that Sherman, who can just pound anything within 300 meters coming into the town.
Yeah, and the Shermans in defense, as we saw early in the match, is putting him in a good angle to only force close-range firefights. Stugs and Jagdpanzers aren't great aggressive units, especially against a tank carnage. You might be surprised by this fact, but did you know the Sherman had stabilizers?
I heard a thought about that, but I thought they were just talking about a recliner. I mean, being American, I thought it was more of like a lazy boy thing.
It's like the tank commander just has a lazy boy inside. But it's like
Oh,
a really
absolutely.
big one, so everyone else is extremely inconvenienced about this dude having the lazy boy in his tank. It's like, fucking hell, lazy
That's my
boy.
head. That's my head canon about why they always drove with the hatches open. The lazy boy didn't get good for like aeration otherwise. Somebody did a nice little doozy on one of the seats, and they had to air the place out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Rhino though is actually on the front lines, and this is, like I said, should be able to be decently well against a stroke. Can't pen and can get penned still, but one after the other. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If he can maintain that town control for just a bit longer, just a bit. J88 coming in, bombing the bejesus out of that Sherman, drops wide. Very
Yeah.
wide.
Yeah, I think Fireblade is going to have this in the bag. Just Raikay does not have the momentum in the center to capture those two flags quickly, and even then it's way too much of a knife's edge. And then just looking down south, it is Doug on in. I really do like he's hooking around at Rhino down south. Yeah, the southern side just, it's collapsed.
Now, it's not interesting per se, but kind of curious that I'm pretty sure Memori had to be given 5 more minutes, or, let's call it 8 more squads of Legionaries. I think he could have ruptured the middle. I truly, truly do think that disheartened troops kind of in the middle. It's not what you want to be depending on over here in Sea Phase.
I think it's also the southern push as well just diverted a crap ton of resources. I mean, we're seeing time and again, Raikay has thrown troops down south to stomp his American advance, and they all die. They shoot back. It's kind of rude.
It's extremely rude, but what can you expect? I mean, those Americans, just
Mm-hmm.
no sense of manners. Imagine them shooting officers, just having these masses of men having it out. So uncivilized.
Yeah, we're meant to take shot, turns when firing. Core. And don't shoot the officers, come on.
No, just shoot them first. Said every enlisted man ever. Naval Ruffers not going to be enough to turn the tide on this one, unfortunately. They go down almost ignominiously. One by one by one by one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that will be just about it here. We have the victory barrage of the mortars. Stovepipes, surprising enough, not been super instrumental to this. And one of the stewards, of course, has to celebrate the end of this match by going down. I think that's pretty much all she wrote.
Yeah. Being his own little fireworks display here.
It's kind of funny because the last few seconds, again, like this is one of those moments. Had there been another 5 minutes, I think this match is completely the other direction.
Maybe. I think Raikay just lost so much momentum in like those last 10 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a southern push. If the southern push didn't happen, I would say yes.
True. True.
Pretty
But
close in KD.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, looking at this really overall, what do we see? We see, of course, Nebely's doing their darndest over here, and really, push comes to shove, this is exactly what we expected.
Yeah, really, both sides, KD, nothing really that interesting. Everyone did their part.
Mm-hmm. So, at the end of the day, it sounded like it was going to be a standard match. It could have been a standard match, and at the end of the day, it kind of was a standard match.
Yeah, don't go to Hiroshima. It's a meat grinder all the time, every time.
Unless you actually need meat ground.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, have fun. But until then. Any final thoughts there, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case, then, until next time, this is Connorwork.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.